I've always been an enormous football fan. I think football is the key to any athletic program. And, and I think that I'm fortunate that I work in a place where there's no jealousy. A lot of places, sports don't get along. Olympic sports don't get along with revenue sports, and football and basketball, they're all fighting for money. For some reason, and this isn't just Mark Hollis, our AD, or Mark D'Antonio, but ever since I've been at Michigan State, we've really gotten along well, and we've helped each other, whether it's been, Nick Saban or Bobby Williams or the different coaches I've dealt with. And Mark D'Antonio and I live a block from each other. Incredible human being, a great, great guy. And he's got it going there. And I mean, he's got it going where him and I talked a lot about how we built ours, and we built it from the basement up. And we're going to have an average year sometime just in basketball. We're going to have one in football, but I do think we have a foundation now that's set that we are headed in the right direction. And I think, the hardest thing that I've had to deal with in my coaching career is 5 football coaches, 5 ADs in my first 13 years as a head coach. We have stability, we have solidarity, we have guys pulling for one another, we have guys helping one another, and we're talking about leaders tonight later on. We have a tremendous leader in Luana Simon who's been very good, is on some committees now with the NCA. We got a tremendous leader in Mark Hollis, and that has made it so much smoother for D'Antonio and I, that we're making some real progress, and I think we're going to be a force to be reckoned with, where we're knocking on the door every year, and we're not going to win championships every year, but are we knocking on the door? And I think we will be, and we are, and it will continue. Sooner or later throughout a season, you have to send a message to your team once in a while, and I'm not a football coach. Sometimes I'd like to be. You can grab guys by the face mask, you can yell at the refs, nobody cares, but I'm not one. But I do think if you can't gain a half a yard, does that send the other message to your team? So, him going for it or not, I love Jim Swartz. I've gotten to know him. I think he's awesome coach. It's too bad, with a different quarterback in, how the signal got screwed up. I don't know the particulars, so I'm not going to be like the talk show guys that tell you what happened when they don't have a clue. But him going for it wouldn't have bothered me a bit, and him kicking a field goal wouldn't have bothered me a bit, because only he knows what his team needed. Do they need a boost of confidence? Are they cocky enough that if they didn't go for it, that wouldn't have bothered their mental approach to the game? Those are the things that we all hash around and don't know. I will say this. I was sad to see it end like it did, because I thought there were so many bizarre plays in that game, and most of them went against the Lions, most of them, that I think they deserve to win. But they'll bounce back. I'm a big Lions fan, and I'm a big Jim Swartz fan. I think Maxwell, and again, I'm not there every day, but I think Maxwell's got a tremendous arm. I talked to Kirk Cousins last year, and he thinks Maxwell's going to be a very good quarterback. There is nothing like experience. Nothing. You can't coach it, can't teach it, you can't do it. It is nothing like experience. At the same time, when you lose a lot of key receivers, and we have dropped some balls, that's been public, and we've dropped some balls. So now, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? When the quarterback throws and receiver drops one, where's the confidence? And I would be willing to bet, because I've stated about my team, we had a heck of a leader last year in Kirk Cousins. I mean, we all saw how he spoke, what he did, what he stood for. He was a 3-year starter. What he was like on the court, off the field, on the field, in the classroom. Maxwell, I think, is all those things except the experience. I think he's just as good a kid. I think he's as good a student. I think he's got all the intangibles. But I also think that, their team, they lose the lineman right before the night before the Notre Dame game. I mean, I'm not making excuses. I thought this year would be a small rebuilding year. I didn't think it was an overhaul year, but to me it was going to be a small rebuilding year. And, you know, you hope they beat Notre Dame at home. They didn't. The world doesn't end, but it gets a little dicier now as far as there's more pressure on people, but they've learned. They've gone through it, you know. The Eastern games, I've been in so many of those kind of games, and give Eastern credit, but you can talk to your blue in the face about how to handle, you know, different expectations, and then people all around the city are talking one way, and that's difficult. So I'm not sure where we are yet. I just know where we are with our base. I know we've got a very solid, good program. I think we've got the right people. I think, you know, our running back's phenomenal. You know, we'll see what our receivers do, but I think our quarterback is going to be very good, and it doesn't worry me at all. So the leadership, what I said, and that's the one I couldn't answer. I know on defense with Bulla and Adams, they've got good leaders. On offense, they've lost a lot of their key people, and then you have to rely that one or two that are back also have that leadership quality. And I just told you in basketball, I can pick 3 or 4 in 40 years. So it's not the easiest thing to come up with.